submission. While you're listening into the presentations, you can line up your questions and put them in the chat, and we can group the questions and answer them. With that, I think we are good to kick off. Evangelist, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Wembo. So welcome everybody. Until Hannah launches the presentation, may I tell you that actually here we are to help you and reply to some questions on the new concept that we are trying to bring in GEO work program activities and support you in submission of proposals, as already Wembo has mentioned. So next, please. We have this session broken in two parts. In the first part, I will introduce with the main changes that you will have to keep in mind in order to make your proposal preparation more effective. And in the second part, Wembo will give you some more practical information and advice probably on how to run your proposal application. Next, please. So actually, this is driven by the fact that we are entering the new era, a new era for GEO, which is following the post-2025 strategy. The motto is Earth Intelligence and has many pillars, and as you can see in the different bullets, the one we are going to be discussing today is how we can deliver transformative programs in GEO in order to achieve the goal of delivering Earth intelligence. Next, please. So mostly we are going to be talking about the work program in which we have introduced some some changes, some new elements. One of them has been the focus areas, which are introduced in order to help us facilitate synergies and collaborations within the GEO work program, but also as a tool to identify different key priorities, thematic key priorities under each thematic focus areas umbrella. Next, please. So after an exercise, internal exercise that we did within the existing GEO activities, we ended up that these 6 colored focus areas represent or complete the picture of activities that we have in the current work program. We shouldn't take the titles as limiting. Actually, we are providing the different communities behind the titles the opportunity to work together and define the contents of each focus area, contents that are being collected through a specific template that has been circulated by the GEO Secretariat. Next, please. The second stage on top of the focus areas has been our attempt to indeed bring some transformative elements in the work program. And this has been now introduced by the fact that we are having a research to operation space within the work program activities, where activities are really going to work towards delivering operational services, transforming their research assets into operations. However, recognizing the great convening power of GEO, we still maintain the conveners. And I will explain you later about the difference between them. So next, please. Another, sorry, if we can get back, sorry, I thought it would green is the third one. So one other change is that we are not going to be launching, call for new activities on a standard cycle so that an existing activity has to wait until the cycle begins. We will follow an evergreen cycle where activities work at their own pace And when they are ready to progress into the next category, they will be able to submit a proposal for this. And we also hope that this process will reduce the traffic to the engagement and evaluation teams to have to evaluate all activities at the same time. And the last point has to do with the monitoring evaluation, a more effective and concrete monitoring evaluation process, which will be based on very specific KPIs and assistance on the activities, on how they can progress through the different categories, and when they really feel ready to be promoted to the next level. As we said, the idea is to change what has in some circumstances have happened in the past, like having activities being stagnant or not having any more motivation or some push to progress. On the other hand, we have to follow to achieve some of the mandates we got from the high-level strategy of GEO, where users, engagement, and operationalization of services is on the top of our priority. Next, please. And here you see the new structure. Allow me to highlight actually two spaces. The central one, research to operations. Here we have maintained the same terminology, let's say, like pilots, initiatives, and flagships. However, now these are, and the progression within those among those is now being driven by very specific and clear criteria. At the same time, providing opportunities for assistance to the different activities from the GEO community. And outside this R2O research to operation R2O pipeline, we are having the second, let's say, space for GEO, which is also very important, even if not more important. And that would include the GEO conveners, what in the past we used to call as community of practice, what in the past we used to have working groups in different thematics, and other such types of Earth observation conveners are going to be hosted under the GEO conveners. We consider this category very critical because we expect that research, discussion, exchange of ideas, everything comes into this category, and ideas for products and services pop out from them, and when ready they enter the R2O pipeline. And we also have the enabling mechanisms where support is horizontally provided by either the GEO Secretariat or the GEO community and other partners in a horizontal manner. Within the R2O pipeline, we also have this box that you saw there, the accelerators. Okay, now I get it. It's the ones that we used to call incubators. It's again activities that just run into a fast track manner. We can come back to this when we go with the discussion more. So for the moment, I think we are good. Next slide, please. Here you will see the main categories of criteria that we have selected. They are based on a tangible description on products and services or services to be delivered, the level of user engagement of the activity to be proposed. We give great emphasis on the impact to be achieved from the realization of the activity, the strength and cohesion of the team and the partnership, and of course also very important, especially within the R2O pipeline, sustainability options. And you will see also different subcategories or the points that we are focusing on within the different five different criteria types. Next, please. Then we have the conveners, which are outside the R2O pipeline. Here, the conveners will have to complete a more, let's say, less demanding template. They have to justify their relevance to the GEO work plan, and especially the focus areas, and to list a number of activities that will be facilitating exchange of information between the partners, gap analysis, and in general a strategic design for the activity and the contribution of this design and this strategy for the whole focus areas. It needs to be clear. It needs still to have very tangible deliverables, to be also to inquire the different synergies and collaborations that are needed or in the future. Again, the leadership will need to be justified, because those are going to be self-organized activities. So resources and really leading motivation needs to be demonstrated. And even though users and stakeholders are a vital part of the R2O pipeline, still here there should be somehow present to declare the maturity, let's say, of a convener to start discussing real world problems and figuring out solutions for it. Next, please. Okay, so I have already described these points, so I don't think I have to go further into this. We should probably go to the discussion. Here you see again what we have said, that the monitoring, through the monitoring and evaluation process, will be annual on the progress of all activities, but in the R2O pipeline the emphasis will be mostly on the impact. And even though that we are going to be running an evergreen cycle, there is an upper limit. There is a maximum time frame within which the activities can remain in a category. For those that are outside the R2O pipeline, like the conveners and the mature flagships are flagships that actually don't need to go anymore. They are already operational, they are already sustainable, so they have gone outside the R2O pipeline. So within a frame of a 10-year program, the timeline for them will be 5 years. Whereas for pilots, initiatives, and flagships, the times will be 2, 3, and 3 years, with a potential extension of 1, and 2 years in case there is any internal or external reason that justify potential delays or potential failure in reaching partially some of the aspects that are needed. Next, please. This is the timeline of the general time of how we move forward before approving the final work program. So actually we have commenced after the GEO Symposium, or a little bit before the GEO Symposium, the proposal, the process for the proposal submission of activities. It will remain open according to the schedule, but Wembo will inform you later, until the end of the month. The point is that we have some first documents to be reviewed by the program board meeting, and then launched for further review by the principals from the member states, so that in March we have all plenary docs ready, and the final approval will be in May 2025 during the GEO Global Forum. Next, please. So I think this is from my part, and more practical information now will come from Wembo. Wembo, floor is yours. You are muted.
Thank you, Evangelist, for the high-level guidance. So now let's jump into the practical steps. So first, I would like to bring your attention to the call for proposal webpage. There's a link on this page, and you can also easily find it on the GEO landing page. What I want to remind you is that next page, please, is we have a right sidebar menu. All the details are there. So so apart from the introduction part, we also have all the explanation about the focus areas, about the structure, the criteria of each of the category of activities and the reporting obligations, as well as the templates, the offline templates for the conveners and R2O pipeline activities. Next page. So another thing I want to clarify is what are called at this stage. So we call for conveners and R2O pipeline activities, including pilot, initiative, flagship, and mature flagship. So the accelerators are not included in the space because so to be able to accelerate, there are some conditions, for example, fundings need to be ensured so that we will call that for at the next stage at the global forum. And in the enable mechanism will be built on top of what we seen as initiatives in these R2O pipelines and the conveners, and what are the enabling mechanisms that should be supporting them. So this will come after the call for proposal stage, but also before the global forum. What are not included in this work program cycle is the regional GEOs. So the regional GEOs will be becoming a governance pillar, governance part of a GEO. So there will be a separate discussion about how to develop its implementation plan. Next slide, please. Next. So the actual submission will be done through an online system. It's very intuitive. It's requires asks for exactly the same information that you will find in the offline template. And be reminded that we will do this in a two-stage process. The first stage is from now to well, actually from early mid-September to the initial deadline, the end of October, provide core information. And stage 2 will be after the global forum, once the activities are approved. And for the approved ones, we will ask for detailed work plan. Next page. Next page, please. So go back to the previous one. Hannah, go back. Yeah. So what will be the practical steps for submitting a proposal? The first thing, as I mentioned, is please read the guidelines carefully on the web page, and based on that, you have an important decision to make. So first, if you are new, you may decide if you would submit a proposal. And regardless you are new or existing activities, you need to decide what category you want to submit for a convener or R2O pipeline activities. So those are important decisions to make because the templates will be different. And before you access to the online systems, you can already start preparing the content for your proposal. So you can look into the offline templates for both the conveners and the R2O pipeline activities. And in order to request access to the online system, so you have been asked to write to the GeoWP at geosec.org to provide the following information. So first, you need to assign editors who will enter the information into the online system. So multiple editors are possible, so they can equally edit the content. And you need to indicate what category of activities you want to apply, and the title of the activity proposal. And for new ones in particular, please, when you write email, provide a brief summary of what the proposed activity intends to do, so that the secretary and the PB can help you to to assess if it's a good match for the GEO work program activities and what category you should apply for. And the last step will be submit the actual proposal in the online system. Next slide, please. So I'll do a quick deep dive into the R2O pipeline activity template. Actually, the convener will be much simpler. I think it's very self-explanatory for the R2O pipeline. So the basic information is very straightforward. Let's go to section 2, summary. So this is an important section. It will be used for multiple purposes. So first, it's the information that will be included in the summary document submitted for the plenary approval. And secondly, it will be used as the introductory part of your activity on the GEO website once it's approved. So make sure you provide concrete information in the summary part. And the third section, product, user, and impact, they come as a combination. So for the auto activities, you are asked to explain the technical readiness of your product and your user engagement and impact. So each of the activities, auto activity, are asked to submit no more than 3 product, user, and impact combinations. Please read the note. I think you can find it in the template itself and also in the online system. So what does product mean? What does user mean? What does impact mean here? So in a nutshell, we are looking for the product that can inform decision makers, and the users are the type of decision making users in your day-to-day world. User may mean different entities or partners, but here we are really looking at the decision making, policy making type of users. Let's scroll down a bit more. Yeah, the information here in section 3, so it follows quite the criteria of the auto pipeline activity that Evangelos just mentioned. So you will be asked to provide the baseline. So what are the status of your user engagement? What are the technical readiness of your current product? And so on. Then you will also set the goal. By the end of the cycle, what do you want to achieve in terms of product readiness, user engagement, and impact? Next section, please. You will be also asked to provide information on open data knowledge and infrastructure. So this is really the backbone of a GEO, and the principle GEO has been promoting since the inception. But the questions asked here are quite, basic. If you are complying with the GEO's open data principles and so on, and there are a few grayed out questions that you will be asked to answer in the second phase. So you will do a deep dive into those questions. For example, doing the data management self-assessment. So section 5, it's about work plan. And again, we asked for core information here in the first phase. It will be constructed with results framework, means from the top level impact, and you kind of break it down to the several key outcomes, then to key outputs, and then the supporting tasks that will lead to the outcomes, output, outcome, and impact. The reason to do that is everything you do or you proposed in this auto pipeline activity will eventually lead to the impact you want to achieve. So the detailed work plan, including how to measure these outcome outputs. So that will be next phase. Section 6 is on team and partnership. These are all open questions. So you will be asked to explain how the leadership team is organized, how the day-to-day operation will be done, and what kind of a governance structure you put in place, and so on. And these are all aligned with the criteria in the R2O pipeline readiness metrics. And addition to that will be some questions around indigenous and traditional knowledge, engagement, youth engagement, and diversity of your team. So the gray out question here is about the individuals that are included that will contributing to your activity, and this will be entered in the next phase. So I trust this will save a lot of your time for the first phase. Section 7 about sustainability. It's basically about the budget, your actual budget, and your expected, if available, what will be the ideal amount to support your activity. And this will actually tell us, what will be the gaps for your activity in terms of budget. Scroll down. So section 8 will be several simple questions around accelerators. So I mentioned earlier we don't call for accelerators at this stage, but we still look for ideas, like for a fast track activity that with a very clear demand and possibly available resources, what could be possibly organized as an accelerator. And if you have information that are not covered in any of the previous sections, you can provide in section 9 other information. You can also upload documents for complementary information. So let's go back to the slides. Next slide. Let's skip the conveners, so as it's quite straightforward. So here are some tips for high quality information. I think it's quite universal for all kinds of proposal writing. The proposal should be relevant to the criteria that introduced in the auto pipeline and also convener, so that the review panel will easily get the information, how to assess and grade your activity. Don't bury all your core information in long paragraphs. So that will probably prevent the review panel find the core information. And please also balance the technical details and the clarity. I know our proposals involve a lot of hard technologies, but at the this proposal for GEO that intended to deliver Earth intelligence solutions and eventually impact on the ground. So let's link the technical aspects to the impact. So make the language very simple, and even for non-expert reviewers, they are able to assess your proposal. And to make a compelling case for your proposal, make sure, again, link the outcomes to the impact, and provide clear, measurable outcomes, and also support all your statement with evidence. For example, real-world examples, your use cases, case studies are always very helpful, and also statistics as well, numbers. Next slide. So I think there's a more detailed timeline for the proposal and the review process. And we are now in the mid-October for the proposal writing workshop, and all of you may be interested in submitting the proposal. The initial deadline is end of October, and we have received some feedback from the community through the conversations at regional GEO workshops. So there's possibility to extend the submission deadline for 2 weeks, but probably no more, because we are really limited by the ultimate, deadline for the global forum. But remember, the submitting the proposal is not the end of this process. So you will be actively involved with the PB review teams. They may reach out to you asking for clarity of some of the statement, and they may ask, to merge the proposals for similar proposals. And you may also be advised to change categories. So those will be in the pipeline, and please also don't hesitate to reach out to the PB, to the Secretariat proactively. So we will be happy to have, have calls with you, provide more specific and tailored guidance to you. So the review, we expect that will be completed by mid-January, and then after that, there will be a whole geoprinciple consultation process, and doing the second version and so on. So basically, before mid-January, we will work together to submit high-quality proposals to make the post-2025 GEO work program, very really with substantive content that will eventually leading to transformative solutions that will make an impact on the ground. I think this is my last slide. Yes, so thank you for your attention, and again, thank you for taking your time. Now we are open for questions and discussions. Do we have any questions in the chat already?
So you can raise your hand or put the question in the chat. I had the chance to go a little bit through the introductions, and I already foresee some of the questions. So we already have two raised hands, so we can start, right, with Sylvia and then Bende.
First of all, thank you so much for these workshops, because I attended the EuroGeo in these days, so I had the chance to meet in person you, and the presentation were very interesting. But this meeting, this call is useful to understand something better. When I came as a representative of Geoscience and Remote Sensing Society, as I said in some days ago. And so my question is try to understand how, as a society, we can eventually submit a proposal, and if this can help in giving our contribution to GEO. because, it's a little bit complicated. I didn't understand completely if there is a possibility to do this, also because, there is a part of geoscience and remote sensing society that is much wider than just Europe. But in my case, I represent the Europe chapters. So I have this role in which perhaps I can come with ideas, collecting, proposals from the chapters. And I read that the editors can be more than one, but I don't have the clear picture of what is possible to do.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is not the usual process, but mostly it's the community that comes with a bottom-up idea and receives approval after attention from GEO, etc. But this is a very special case, which we can actually work together probably in a different meeting. However, in the meantime, because in the program board, which follows the progress of the past work program, and it's also responsible for the formulation of the next work program activities, we have representatives from GRSS, Paolo Gampa and Harris Contoes. I would strongly suggest that we can also have some discussion within this frame. Why? Because you know the assets and the different aspects that GRSS can bring in, and they also know what is GEO doing, so you can come up with some ideas. Then I suggest we can also have a meeting between the GEO co-chairs and yourselves, and we can discuss some of those ideas if it would be really worth the time or the redirection needed maybe for you to submit, and what type of a category. So I think you need to do a little bit of this exercise, and then probably we can have a more concrete discussion around
Thank
this.
you, because
Okay?
obviously if I'm here, if I'm talking is because I had private, let's say, conversations with Aris from one side and with Paolo today, for instance. So I'm always, in touch with them before asking, before talking. But another meeting more specific is a very good idea. Thank you.
I would say so, yeah. Bente?
Yes, hello. Hi again. Bente Lievi from BLB in Norway, and I have two hats on me right now. One is for the GEO Equality, Diversity and Inclusion subgroup of the program board. And we have started to have some activities there, like the webinar celebrating the International Women's Day, Indigenous people and youth. And we were thinking that those activities could fit into the work program, particularly to engage the wider work program, so participation across the work program. Now, and Wenbo, you said, oh, well, a convener is so straightforward. I skipped that. So I was wondering what exactly, is it similar to the communities of practice that we have had before, or how can you expand a little bit on how you see the convener role?
Alrighty, so probably Hannah, can you go quickly to the convener? So sorry for that, because this morning, so people were more focused on the auto pipeline. So, but yeah, but you're right. So it's more like type of community of practice. The big difference between the convener and auto activity is that the convener is not asked to roll out any let's say product and service targeting end users. So it's mainly for information exchange, sharing best practices, and possibly help helping GEO to identify gaps and pointing where we should be focusing on, like what we should do in the focus areas. and we can use, for example, the EDI as a specific case. And so what GEO should do in terms of EDI, how to improve based on what we have done. And running of webinars, meetings, workshops. These are kind of typically what a convener will do.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so but the EDI is indeed a special case because it's a subgroup. It's part of the governance structure, so it's a little bit different than the other work program activities. But we thought, we were discussing in EDI that it would be a nice way of integrating, well, or engaging the wider GEO community. It's a way of reaching out to the rest of the GEO community. So that's why we agreed that it might be a good idea to write something, to have some activities in the work program like that. But EDI is sort of, this is a subgroup of the program board, so it falls out of the other, well, the categories in that sense. But thank you very much. It's for that feedback. That was very helpful. And then the second hat, and that is I'm working on digital twins of the ocean. So the ocean community in GEO is mostly represented in the GEO Blue Planet. When it comes to digital twins, we discuss specifically gaps in observations, and there are some, special challenges. The ocean is vast, so we are not, in terms of in situ data, that's a bit of a challenge. We have satellites, of course, and then you have the polar regions. So we were discussing in DITTO, which is a activity in the UN Ocean Decade program, 10 years. And then you have a couple of big investments projects in the Horizon 2020 projects program. So EDITO, several EDITOs, and Iliad. So we are building multiple twins. And these twins of the ocean, and so of course you have doing a gap analysis could fit like a convener, right? To have collect information like that, but I don't think we are mature enough, and this is an open question. Even though we are developing operational twins, I don't feel that it might be a little bit premature to include that in the work program. I don't know, but at least would it be a good start to just, the first year now start with trying to be a convener and do a gap analysis? Both on data and models, by the way.
If I can take this up, first of all, we have to clarify that when someone submits something, we put more emphasis on what is proposed, if it is concrete, if it makes sense, if it meets the maturity or the indicators that needed for a specific category, but then we can actually discuss and consult where it could best fit. So don't feel that obliged at that point that you make the right selection. Okay, the discussion here is helpful, that is probably a convener, but we might end up from the fact that if the whole community somehow can be benefited from this activity that you are doing, then we might come back with a proposal that it can become an enabling mechanism, that it's put at the disposal of the community in a horizontal manner. Of course, the call is not open now for enabling mechanism, but then actually we would provide the appropriate time for a preparation in this regard or so. And in general, all proposals will be assessed in this way. The engagement evaluation teams will really make sure that they will fit where they are supposed to fit, both in terms of maturity, but also in terms of nature. So 3 big blocks. Do you have a community where you are discussing and getting ideas and analyzing the gaps in order to deliver a product and service, but not yet there? It's probably a convener. When their products are ready, or if they are already ready or a service and you are ready to go this R2O pipeline with specific deadlines, but also assistance, because GEO has to also give resources into this. So we have to keep it, in a frame, the number of R2O pipelines. Then you go for an R2O pipeline. If it's something that can go horizontally, then you can go for an enabling mechanism. But this, can be really assisted by the program co-chairs and the program board, and the, to find the right match for the right for the current moment.
Yeah, because I think the community needs to consult a little bit more than the deadline for submitting. I mean, that's an issue, right?
Right. The opportunity must not be wasted. If you have the rough idea, I think it's worth the time to put it in a proposal, because this will give us the chance even approve or reject, but discuss and see where it best fits. And this also answers one of the questions by a colleague, I don't remember, but it doesn't matter, that if you don't have an answer to some of these blocks that Wembo showed, if you don't have an answer, you can either leave it blank, or you can try to approach it the best way and write your concerns, your guess, or how you are going to be addressing it. And then we can come back. This is the first phase of proposal. There's going to be a second phase. We are interested in the intro stage, how you enter, you meet the basic criteria, etc. And do you have a quite good scheduled progression pathway in the next category? So if you're going to go with a pilot and someone doesn't even know how it is, not a business plan, a plan for sustainability, etc., probably it's not mature enough. You have to describe this in the process, So this is more or less for the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very useful. Thanks.
Okay, we thank you, Bente. We had some questions already in the chat by Anna, but she's raising hands, so I think we had better really listen lively. Anna.
Hello, Anna Paczulak from Space Research Center, Polish Academy of Sciences. I have more pragmatic approach because I already know more or less. I have read the document, so I know how to beat the idea. However, I'm completely lost, to be honest, how to construct the budget, and that part is somehow, the finances behind are somehow tricky to me. I'm not quite sure if the second part of the sustainability, so number 7, is this the part we should estimate the budgets on how to develop the progress on how the costs are gonna look like? Because it's, to be honest, it's quite, it's not easy part, right?
All right,
So
Wembo?
I can take the question. So first, so for Anna, you haven't been involved in the GEO work program, so you probably don't know. So up until now, the GEO work program is still pretty much carry your own budget, carry your own resources, all voluntary contribution, so that we have some collaboration, roll out some new ideas and let them grow. We recognize that if we want to go further, this model need to change. We couldn't fully rely on this purely voluntary contribution model. So actually, the post-2025 strategy was meant to, push the direction to address the issue. The implementation plan for the strategy will have 4 pillars. One is the work program, and the other pillars including communication and engagement, resource mobilization, and community and governance, and so on. So this is a problem in the progress, but I think you asked the right question. So what you currently can put into the budget is what you have in your own projects, so as in-kind contribution to that. But what will be the case of the global forum. Let's see. So let's hope the best. Our leaderships will enable, will approve some additional resources so that it will be additional motivation.
So do I understand it well? At that stage, we should rather rely on our own resources because there will be no like co-funding from GEO. It's rather kind of proposal for further development and and probably put into, let's say, more like EU policy frames in the future. So this is also connected to my other question about, because you have it within the proposal on the donor institutions. So if we would like to look for some co-funding, then probably we should find own institution, or I don't know, even NGOs or whoever, that want to participate and support us with some kind of activity, right? Or directly within the budget, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, if I can jump in here, the construction of a consortium is based along this idea. So depending on the category, there needs to be a different maturity of secured funds and engagement, etc. So when, for example, if you go for a convener, at least for the beginning, someone who should have resources for some meetings, for some analysis, gap analysis, etc. When you decide to go for a product, actually the process itself means that you have to work together with a company, with an NGO, with a fund or something. But GEO itself, through the enabling mechanisms, will provide to activities, tools that can help you to reach out to more opportunities for funding. So it shouldn't be only European funds, because this is a global endeavor also outside Europe. So actually you will have probably access to more tools and opportunities for funding or more networking, okay, because someone may propose something, and if we realize that there are overlaps or synergies, we will probably propose you to come together and work together with other partners around the world to deliver a product. I think this is of help. Yep.
Yeah, please. This is now I understand. And this is like your job is like being facilitator, right?
The program board and the program board and the GEO will try its best to support this process with tools and consultation and everything.
Right.
Networking.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome, and thank you for your question and presence. Before moving to the next question, there was a very nice comment about language translation. So I go to our friend Viamin, and we say that if you are having problems in understanding, we can have a tailored meeting. If you have some concrete, proposals or suggestions, and already created a proposal or an idea, not a proposal, and we could then arrange probably some Spanish colleagues from the program board to facilitate a discussion if really need to be that case, because this is important that we all understand what we are saying. Okay. So Anna, you have already made the question, so please you can get your hand down, and then it's Pincham. Please.
Hi, I'm Karina. I'm part of the team for the EO for SDG initiative. We are going to be submitting a convener proposal for sustainable development. So I have two different questions. One is that for filling out where it says to define what convener type we're going to be, it offers up three options: community of practice, community of interest, and working group. Are those like set in stone and we need to choose from one of those three, or can we kind of come up with our own term if necessary? And how do you differentiate between the meanings of those if you see like value in one or the other based upon what the purpose of the convener is supposed to be?
So I can take this question.
Yeah, please. I love this because I looked up the definitions and the differences, when we were discussing about the convener, what it could be, Please,
yeah. So I kind of see this rather an example, what are the current activities within the GEO work program or then in the GEO community can be possibly, future model of conveners. I don't see this as a definition. I see these are illustrations, like what we currently call them community of interest or community of practice or working groups. They are all possible future conveners. So this is my way to interpret this. So if you have other names like okay, so this is a convener, but we are like something. It's not a community of practice, not a community of interest, not a working group. It could be something else. I think that would be fine.
Okay, that's good to know. And then my second question is for when we're outlining the people who would be potentially interested as having leadership roles within our conveners, how concrete do those selections need to be? And then for the other section, when it's asking for active contributors for the convener, is that speaking to more of like who's within the existing work program activity? Or is that are we supposed to be gathering the names of people who specifically, say that, yes, I want to interact with the convener in 2026?
So I think for the specific names, we actually didn't, we won't ask for, okay, so first, your first question about the leadership. So I think it will be quite autonomous, right? We don't intervene how a convener organize themselves. So actually the proposers have the liberty to define who will lead. But of course, once it kicks off, if you want to kind of have a good governance, to have a diversity, you may run process of, a call for election and so on. But to start, we don't have a requirement about how you select your leaders. So, but as leaders, we do recognize that there need be experience and a capability for being able to lead a group, but we don't impose any process how you select the leaderships. And the second one, so we also won't ask for the detailed information of every individuals who are going to contribute to this activities. That's the information really for next phase. So, but you can briefly describe as a status quo, how many people from how many countries, some stats that will be helpful.
Okay.
So actually, if I may jump here, actually, as I mentioned before, we care much about the plan for progression. So if you now come with a maturity level that you know what activities, subgroups, whatever, are going to be developing within the convener, and you already have the leaders, this is a strong indication of where you want to head at. So you can include the information. If you want to do that through a more inclusive, let's say, process where the subdomains and their leaders are going to be decided through a process, you just describe this. And all in all, activities have their own history. So in the specific case, we very well know and appreciate the history, and it's going to be also part of the evaluation, and how we recognize what you plan to be doing.
Okay, that makes sense. This is helpful. Thank you.
So it's 6 o'clock. So do we have, no, 6 o'clock in Greece, I'm sorry. Do we have more questions? Please feel free.
I think there's another question in the chat. So is there any information available from the existing GEO user community, for example, applications, locations, like I will answer this question in a general manner. So GEO has been doing some kind of a general user need assessment, and it has been not very successful. And currently, the user engagement is really done at the activity level. So GeoGlam has its own user community. The GeoBomb Biodiversity flagship has its own community, and so far we feel it's the most efficient and effective way to collect user engagement, to collect user needs. I'm not sure if I answer your question. So the short answer is we don't have a pool that can provide all sorts of user community.
So if we are missing any question from the chat, please raise your hand to repeat it. I think we have mostly covered all the questions directly or indirectly. So should there be no more question, probably we should call it an end. This is the second proposal writing session, coaching. Do you have more information about what's coming, Wembo?
So we will have another two on Wednesday, and but they will be this the same content. If you have a colleagues who wanted to join but haven't been able to pass along the information to them, so the links can be found on the call for proposal website. And if you have specific question around your own proposals and you want to have a detailed discussion, don't hesitate to reach out to the program board and the GEO Secretariat. So write to the same email address, geowp@geosec.org. Alrighty, so if no more, so thank you for your attention, and let's keep in touch and look forward to your great proposals.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good evening, good day.